From ulcerative colitis to metabolic therapy, my cancer journey. My life changed the day I heard the words, "You've got cancer." It's one of those moments you never forget. Everything stops. The plans, the routines, the sense of certainty. Suddenly, I was forced to confront something I was hoping would never happen to me. Unfortunately, decades of coping with an autoimmune disease left me in a much higher risk category for cancer than your average everyday healthy person. If you're watching this, you might be searching for hope, for answers, or maybe you're just curious about an unconventional path I took, called metabolic therapy. You might wonder, can changing how we fuel our bodies really help us fight cancer? Let me take you through my journey, from years of struggling with ulcerative colitis, to facing a stage 1 cancer diagnosis, and finally, finding a personalized approach to healing, one that's grounded in new science, determined self-advocacy, and the support of a growing community. Personal backstory: living with ulcerative colitis. Before I ever heard the word cancer, I lived with ulcerative colitis, a chronic inflammation of the colon. My daily life was shaped by cramps, diarrhea, uncertainty, and countless doctor visits. It's hard to describe the exhaustion of living with a condition that refuses to let you rest or plan ahead. Social events, travel, even simple meals became sources of anxiety. For years, I battled flares, followed the prescriptions, and tried to stay positive. Eventually, I did find a drug that made my life almost normal again. However, there was always that nagging doubt that it might be too little, too late. But looking back, I see now how much chronic inflammation had already begun to shape my health, both physically and emotionally. And little did I know, this would be just the beginning of my journey. Cancer diagnosis, a new and unexpected challenge. And then, after all those years, everything changed again. My ulcerative colitis escalated. New symptoms appeared. Tests led to more tests. And finally, I was told, "You have stage 1 cancer." Fear was my first reaction. I felt powerless. I was presented with conventional options: surgery, drugs, radiation. And while I am grateful for modern medicine, something told me there was more I could do. I wanted to understand why. Why me? Why now? And most importantly, what else is possible? To be honest, refusing surgery was a fairly simple choice for me, since the only option I was offered was removal of the entire bowel and rectum, leaving me with a stoma and colostomy bag for the rest of my life. Since I had no other outward sign of disease from my ulcerative colitis, and the cancer was, at that stage, not even visible to the naked eye, I figured I had time to see what other options were available. The search for alternatives, discovering metabolic therapy. That question launched my search for answers outside the box. I devoured books, podcasts, blogs, anything that promised a new angle on cancer. That's when I first encountered the work of Professor Thomas Seyfried. Professor Seyfried's story and research gripped me. He's a leading scientist who challenges the mainstream view of cancer. Instead of seeing cancer purely as a genetic disease, he explores cancer as a metabolic disease, rooted deeper in how our cells process energy through their mitochondria. His book, Cancer as a Metabolic Disease, introduced me to a concept I'd never considered. What if the way we eat, fast, and manage stress could actually influence cancer cell behavior? What if targeting glucose metabolism could starve cancer while empowering healthy cells? His approach resonated with my experience and gave me hope. More than that, his new vision of how cancer works made much more sense to me than the somatic mutation theory of cancer. Deep dive. What is metabolic therapy? So what is metabolic therapy? At its core, metabolic therapy is about changing the environment in which cancer grows. It means shifting from our usual carbohydrate-heavy diets to approaches that focus on healthy fats, fasting, and ketosis. By reducing glucose, the sugar that many cancers thrive on, and supporting our mitochondria, we create an environment less friendly to disease. Let's break it down simply. Diet and fasting. Periods of fasting, or following a ketogenic diet, encourage the body to burn fat instead of sugar, lowering glucose levels and raising ketones for energy. Mitochondrial health. Our cells' powerhouses, the mitochondria, play a crucial role. Strengthening them may help our healthy cells resist disease. Oxygen and stress. Exercise, stress management, and good sleep all contribute to making our bodies more resilient. I know this sounds radical to some, and it's not mainstream yet, but as research grows, so does the promise of this integrated approach, especially when paired with careful medical supervision. Through metabolictherapy.com, I've shared resources, protocols, and as we grow we will share the stories of others who walk this path. And yes, there will always be skeptics. My message is, stay curious, do your research, choose what feels right for you. Building my personalist protocol. With everything I'd learned, I set out to build my own plan, one step at a time. No one-size-fits-all solution here, it's about learning, adapting, and tracking what works for me. My protocol included a nutrition plan mostly based on whole foods, lots of healthy fats, targeted fasting, and reduced sugars, carefully chosen supplements to support immunity and mitochondrial health, structured routines for exercise, stress reduction, and sleep hygiene, and, just as important, a new mindset, staying open, resilient, and hopeful. I worked with doctors, consulted experts, and leaned on the wisdom of others in the metabolic therapy community. Visuals, blog posts, and videos from our website provided the backbone and accountability I needed. My results. They're still a work in progress, but I celebrate every milestone. Improved energy is something I wasn't expecting, and being taken off of my medication was a blow I could have done without. Overall, I feel extremely well in myself considering, but the loss of the tafasitinib has caused a small setback in my overall health. Milestones, setbacks, and triumphs. This journey won't be a straight line. There will be setbacks, flares, curveballs, days when everything feels overwhelming. But I'm certain there will also be triumphs, positive scans, periods of remission, and, most of all, the confidence that comes from knowing I'm an active participant in my own healing. What I've learned is that setbacks aren't failures. They're opportunities to pivot, refine, and keep moving forward. I am still on this journey, and every day brings new lessons. The support network, building community, and seeking help. None of this would be possible without support. My family and friends have been my anchor. Online, our metabolictherapy.com and Cancer Warriors community has become a source of shared strength and wisdom. We help each other, celebrate wins, and share our challenges. Launching my GoFund campaign was a leap of vulnerability. Asking for help is never easy and not something I expected I'd have to do. But I hope it will open doors to new treatments, specialist consultations, and the opportunity to focus on advocacy for others facing similar battles. Your support so far has meant the world to me. I'm still looking for ways to improve my reach and generate more donations, but in time, I'm sure I'll get the help I need to access the treatments I know will help me along the path back to full health. Lessons learned and key takeaways. Here's what I want you to remember: educate yourself. No one will ever care about your health as much as you do. Metabolic therapy isn't a magic bullet, but it's a promising, science-backed option for those willing to do the work. The mind and body are connected. Healing is holistic. Hope and realism go hand in hand. Be bold enough to try, and wise enough to adapt. Call to action and closing. If you're facing your own health challenge, or supporting someone who is, I encourage you, do your research, ask questions, and always advocate for your own healing. Explore metabolictherapy.com for a wealth of free resources. Connect with our community skool.com/Cancer Warriors, and feel free to share your story with us. Thank you for watching, for supporting me and also the work we do, and for believing in the power of knowledge, community, and self-determination. Together, we can reimagine what's possible, one story at a time.